Our thoughts turn now to Rabbi Morris Adler, of blessed memory, as we mark together his 50th Yahrzeit. We're challenged. How does one pay tribute to a man once considered the most quotable rabbi in America? The answer is, of course, by quoting him. The Moshe Rabbeinu, though Moses did not enter the promised land, Rabbi Adler once taught quite presciently, his spirit continued to guide and direct the people whom he had served in his lifetime. Rabbi Adler speculated that there atop Mount Nebo, Moses must have wondered what would become of his teachings, his doctrines, his ideals, when he died, and the Israelites continued on without him. Then looking to Moses while remarking on our own loved ones who have entered their eternal home, Rabbi Adler added these words of consolation and of hope. We continue to live by a light that defies time and death. We continue to live by a light that defies time and death. Indeed, from Moshe Rabbeinu to Rabbi Moshe Chaim, Rabbi Morris Adler, we too continue to live by a light that defies time and death. Born in Russia nearly 110 years ago, a young Morris and his parents, Jenny and Rabbi Yosef Adler, immigrated to the United States in 1913. Amazingly, English was not Rabbi Adler's first language. In 1928, the rabbi-to-be graduated from the City College of New York. The following year, he married Goldie. And in 1931, their daughter Shulamith completed the family. That same day in which Mrs. Adler gave birth to a daughter, Morris Adler entered the Jewish Theological Seminary to begin his studies toward the rabbinate. Upon ordination in 1935, Rabbi Adler began his career at a synagogue in Buffalo. In 1938, the Adlers came to Detroit's congregation Yahrzeit, so that Rabbi Adler could serve as the assistant to the great Rabbi Hirschman. In those years prior to World War II, Rabbi Adler quickly helped the congregation complete its transformation from Orthodox to conservative Judaism. Conservative Judaism, Rabbi Adler explained, sees Judaism as a unifying tradition in which life's polarities and diversities are joined in a great symphony of faith. With such devotion to conservative Judaism, Rabbi Adler went on to become one of the greatest rabbinic leaders of the 20th century. Before that, though, Rabbi Adler became first leader of Metro Detroit's Jewish community, an exemplary citizen of the general community. In 1943, Rabbi Adler even enlisted in the United States Army, serving during World War II in the Philippines and in Japan, where he arrived as the first Jewish chaplain. Returning from overseas, Rabbi Adler published a 2-volume collection of writings entitled Selected Passages from the Torah. A few years later, he took over as senior rabbi of Congregation Yahrzeit. And in 1954, the congregation elected him chief rabbi for life. More than just our rabbi, though. Rabbi Adler served also as the rabbinic dean for all Jewish Detroit. The life and legacy of Rabbi Morris Adler transcends the list of his accomplishments. They will look at his resume, would cause envy among any clergyman, as well as authoring a variety of other publications, including 1958's The World of the Talmud. Rabbi Adler served as chairman of the United Auto Workers Public Review Board, as chair of the Rabbinic Assembly's Commission on Adult Education, and for a time as head of the Rabbinical Assembly's Law Committee. In addition, he held leadership positions with the Zionist Organization of Detroit, the B'nai B'rith Commission on Adult Education, the Detroit Roundtable of Christians and Jews, the Jewish Welfare Federation, the Jewish Community Council, the United Hebrew Schools, the National Academy for Jewish Studies, Wayne State University's Department of Near Eastern Languages, the Rabbinical Council for the United Jewish Appeal, the Clergy Panel advising the management of American Motors Corporation on moral and ethical matters, the State of Michigan's Cultural Commission, the Fair Election Practices Commission, the Commission on Ethics and State Affairs, the Citizens Committee for Equal Opportunity, the governor's committees on higher education and on problems of the aging, and of UAW's Community Health Association. In 1960, Wayne State University granted him an honorary Doctor of Laws degree. I'm exhausted just reading those accomplishments. But somehow, Rabbi Adler never ran out of steam. He even received commendation from and offered counsel to governors and presidents alike. A great deal of credit for Rabbi's successes, I'm sure, goes to Mrs. Goldie Adler. From what I understand, Mrs. Adler brought a sweetness to this congregation. She provided candy every Shabbat to the children. She taught the girls how to sit properly. And she gave all of herself to those who were brokenhearted and in need. In 1962, thanks in large part to his leadership, charisma, and vision, Rabbi Adler oversaw Congregation Yahrzeit move from Detroit to the suburbs as we opened this timeless Southfield campus with a sanctuary that continues to rise to the heavens. On February 12, 1966, with the colors of the stained glass sanctuary windows behind him, Rabbi Morris Adler offered a sermon in honor of Abraham Lincoln, with whom the rabbi felt a special connection. Minutes later, a mentally ill congregant ascended the bema and shot the rabbi. While Rabbi Adler lay mortally wounded, Mrs. Adler not only provided comfort to her husband, but she offered it to the family of the shooter as well. In fact, in the days and weeks that lay ahead, she seemed even more concerned about their well-being than her own. At 7:42 a.m. on March 11, 1966, some 50 years ago, Rabbi Morris Adler died with his wife and daughter at his bedside. Rabbi Adler was 19 days shy of his 60th birthday. Thousands attended the rabbi's funeral. In Rabbi Adler's absence, Rabbi Erwin Groner famously left the rabbi's chair vacant for the year of mourning. At the same time, Rabbi Groner picked up Rabbi Adler's mantle and continued the legacy of transformative rabbinic leadership at Congregation Yahrzeit. The worldwide Jewish community is today significantly larger than it was when Rabbi Adler took over as senior rabbi of Yahrzeit following the Holocaust. Yet Jewish Detroit and conservative Judaism are significantly smaller than when he and Rabbi Groner stood mighty on this bema. When Moses stood atop Mount Nebo pondering the future of his people, of our people, little would he know of the successes and failures, the mountains and valleys that they would face. But Moses believed that if they held fast to the teachings, doctrines, and ideals he set forth, their survival and strength would be guaranteed. This, too, is an important lesson for Congregation Yahrzeit. Perhaps like our ancestors, we at times strayed from the teachings, doctrine, and ideals of our great leaders who set us on this path. But if we continue to follow their teachings, doctrines, and ideals, if we implement the vision they put forward of a mission-driven congregation in which life's polarities and diversities are joined in a great symphony of faith, then perhaps we will again see the day when Congregation Yahrzeit stands like a beacon to this community and to the world. Rabbi Adler taught us then and now, you cannot have the awe of heaven without loving your fellow man. More than his brilliant scholarship, insightful analyses, and profound writings, Rabbi Morris Adler inspired us all to grow ritually and spiritually in our Judaism. And he worked actively to improve the lives of all Americans and of Jews everywhere. As was made clear by the gathering of memory in Adler Hall this past Sunday, Rabbi Adler touched deeply the souls of adults and children alike. Together with his beloved Goldie, Rabbi Adler led a community, strengthened a people, and sought to fulfill the divine mission of the Jewish people as he understood it. Our prayers are answered not when we are given what we ask, the rabbi explained, but when we are challenged to be what we can be. The life and legacy of Rabbi Adler encourages and demands that in our desire to serve God, we must rise from our prayers to truly care for our fellow man, our Jewish brothers and sisters, as well as those who are in need of every race and faith. Even more than the pursuit of scholarship and wisdom, we cannot have the awe of heaven without loving our fellow man. In memory of Rabbi Morris Adler, as well as Rabbi A.M. Hirschman before him, and Rabbi Groner after him. May we, like our ancestors from generation to generation, continue to live by a light that defies time and death. May we today and every day stand on the shoulders of the rabbinic giants who came before, that we might strive to live lives of gratitude, of obligation, of joy. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will, and let us say together, Amen. Our prayers are not answered when we are given what we ask, but when we're challenged to be what we can be. You cannot have the awe of heaven without loving your fellow man. Conservative Judaism sees Judaism as a unifying tradition in which life's polarities and diversities are joined in a great symphony of faith. Having entered the world as a Jew by birth, we ought wish to leave it as Jews by worth. We continue to live by a light that defies time and death. We thank Thee, O God of life and love, for the resurrecting gift of memory, which endows Thy children fashioned in Thine image with the godlike sovereign power to give immortality through love. Blessed be Thou, O God, who enables Thy children to remember. May we remember Rabbi Morris Adler each and every day, and may his memory always be for a blessing. And let us say together,